Introduction to Dyslexia. Introduction to the module. In this module, you will learn about dyslexia, its symptoms, forms and the various tests used for its diagnosis. At the end of the module, you will complete an assessment. The topics that we cover in this module are dyslexia, symptoms of dyslexia, types of dyslexia, diagnosing dyslexia. Dyslexia. Dyslexia is a disorder that impacts an individual's literacy skills, and it lasts for life. It manifests as challenges when reading, writing and sometimes with speaking. Studies estimate that up to 10% of the UK population could have aspects of the condition. Dyslexia is not an issue with intelligence or a lack of effort. It's also not associated with vision issues. Instead, the condition is due to how the individual's brain works when processing written language and spoken language. People who have dyslexia are capable of understanding complex topics. They may just need to consume the information in a different format, such as audio. Numerous famous business people, singers, chefs and other prominent figures have the condition. Dyslexia can be a challenging condition to live with, and those with the condition may experience stress and confidence issues. Symptoms of dyslexia. Different individuals experience dyslexia in different ways. The common symptoms include challenges recognizing letters and words, inability to match letters, sounds and words, problems with pronunciation, problems learning new words, mixing up the letters and words, struggle to hold a pencil correctly, unable to sound out words, not able to understand sayings or jokes, poor time management, know fewer words than peers, focus on memorizing rather than understanding. Types of dyslexia. There are numerous types of dyslexia, and the conditions have slightly different names depending on what source you are reading. The most common types are as follows. Auditory dyslexia. Auditory dyslexia involves challenges when processing sounds of language and sounding out words by pronouncing their components. An individual with this condition may also pronounce a word in reverse order. These individuals may struggle to follow instructions and to process language if they are in a noisy environment. Visual dyslexia. Visual dyslexia results from issues processing information that comes in a visual form or a physical visual issue. The condition is challenging to diagnose in children as they don't realize they see the words differently. The common signs of the condition include missing lines of text when reading, squinting and blinking, migraines, light to read in dimly lit areas. Phonological dyslexia. The most common type of dyslexia is known as phonological dyslexia, which involves issues pronouncing words due to problems with the brain's neurological processing. It can be challenging to read if you have this condition. Surface dyslexia. Surface dyslexia is associated with difficulties in spelling and recognizing entire words. The condition shows up when the individual has to read or spell words that have irregular spellings. Surface dyslexia usually results from a brain injury or a stroke. Deep dyslexia. Deep dyslexia is another condition that results from a stroke or brain injury. The individuals know how to read, but due to the injury or illness they sustained, they are no longer able to read as they once did. Developmental dyslexia. Developmental dyslexia is a genetic condition that involves general difficulty when reading. The child typically receives a diagnosis as they reach an age where they should be reading. Directional dyslexia. Directional dyslexia appears in the form of issues reading from the left-hand side of a page to the right-hand side and keeping track of where in a text the individual is reading. This difficulty may also appear when an individual is following directions. The condition may also be known as spatial or geographic dyslexia. Maths dyslexia. Maths dyslexia involves issues when dealing with numbers. It is also known as dyscalculia, and it appears in about 50% of people who have dyslexia. Children with this condition may show the following symptoms: problems counting, anxiety with numbers, not able to perform calculations or remember times tables. Diagnosing dyslexia. Diagnosing dyslexia is a challenging process that typically starts with a data-gathering exercise about the individual. Medical professionals will use this information to decide what is the most appropriate set of assessments to conduct to diagnose the condition. The professional will have a conversation with the child to assess their speaking abilities and to understand what issues the child feels they are experiencing. The following tests are helping when diagnosing dyslexia. Language test. Testing oral skills will often begin with an informal assessment before moving to a formal test. Phonological awareness. A phoneme is a sound unit such as I or UI that helps us to sound out a word. Testing for phonological awareness helps to assess reading difficulties. Word fluency. A test for word fluency is also known as rapid naming, and it determines how quickly an individual can identify a picture, symbol or word. Those with dyslexia will likely need more time for this exercise and will struggle to identify words with nonsense meanings. Reading fluency. A test for reading fluency assesses the speed of a child's reading and how well they can read the words. Reading comprehension. This type of reading assessment tests how well the individual understands what they are reading. Spelling. A test for spelling ability can diagnose a range of issues from hearing difficulties to challenges with language or phonemics. Writing. The most challenging skill in language is writing. A writing assessment can identify several problems related to different forms of dyslexia, ADHD, and autism. Cultural background. Any language assessment must consider the individual's background and the norms for spelling and language standards in their culture. Challenges at school. Assessing the child's behavior at school can give clues about dyslexia. Do they avoid reading? Do they misbehave to detract attention from the areas they are struggling with? Summary. In this module, you have learned: dyslexia is a disorder that impacts an individual's literacy skills, and it lasts for life. Different individuals experience dyslexia in different ways, but common issues include challenges recognizing letters and words, and problems with pronunciation. There are many forms of dyslexia. The most common type is phonological dyslexia, which involves issues pronouncing words due to problems with the brain's neurological processing. Diagnosing dyslexia is a challenging process that typically starts with a data-gathering exercise about the individual. Popular assessments for dyslexia include language tests, phonological awareness, word fluency, reading fluency, spelling, writing, etc.